Financial support for the production of Issues in Education is provided by the Florida State University License Plate. Your FSU license plate supports scholarships for students who enrich and contribute to our communities. Special programs, gift certificates, and rebates for first-time buyers online at fsu.edu/mytag.
Coming up today on Issues in Education, educational opportunities on a college campus aren't just for those over 18. We look at summer camps in the arts and STEM fields. Welcome to Issues in Education. I'm Suzanne Smith, alongside my co-host, the Florida State University President, Dr. Eric Barron. Summer on a university campus isn't just a time for college students to take some extra classes. It's also a time when potential FSU students can discover a whole new world through summer camps. At FSU, there are many types of summer camps available. Today, we're talking about two very different ones, music and science. Joining us to talk about those programs are Dr. Steve Kelly, Director of FSU Summer Music Camps, and Carlos Villa, Educational Outreach Coordinator at FSU's MagLab. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's just start with a general overview. What type of camps do you offer? Carlos, maybe you want to go first.
Well, the MagLab's offering educational summer camps, of course, focused in science, not just in physics, but ranging the gamut from biology, chemistry, naturally some physics in there as well. And we're offering them at middle school students in the area. We've got an ERC Renewable Energy Camp. We have the MagLab Summer Science Camp, and of course we have the very popular Sci Girls Camp.
And that's just for girls?
That's Sci Girls, just for the ladies.
And Steve?
We offer 14 different camps over the summer. The traditional band and orchestra camps, as well as our choral camps, but also some very unique camps. Our elementary day camp, our double reed camp, double bass camp, guitar camps, both of our jazz camps for middle schoolers as well as high schoolers. This is an area that's really growing in the state and all over the country. Our piano camp, just so many unique different camps that we offer for kids kindergarten through seniors in high school.
What kind of skill level do you need to do these? I mean, I doubt you can have someone come in just never picked up an instrument before and come to the camp.
Well, that's true, but a lot of our students have just been taking lessons for some of them less than a year. They have a great interest, they want to come here and they want to get better. For a lot of people, they think that they have to be a really strong musician in order to get something out of our camps, but they're really designed for all ability levels.
And Carlos, what about you, the student? There's a lot of applications for students to come there. How do kids have to have a background in science?
Well, we're not necessarily looking for the students that are very good in science already. We're just looking for the ones that are interested in science. What we want to do is we want to take that interest and we want to foster it and let it grow. So we're giving them the opportunity to just explore some. So if they've got a strong background in science, fantastic. That helps us out tremendously. But if they don't, we're going to work with them and we're going to get them to where they need to be, and we're just going to get them to fall in love with science.
And so how intense is this? How long do they run? Is it a day camp? Is it a week? Is it...
Yeah, all of our camps are day camps. With the exception of Sci Girls, they run 1 week. And in that 1 week, like I said, ERC Freedom's going to focus on renewable energy. The MagLab Summer Camp is going to range, we're doing a lot of different things. We're doing some roller coaster science, which is fun. We're going to do some airplane science. We're going to do some geology, some geophysics. And Sci Girls, again, they range the whole the whole spectrum of science as well.
And they go 2 weeks.
And they do 2 weeks, and in that 2 weeks, they get a very intensive science experience.
And they also stay not just in this area, they go out into the community.
Yeah, all of the camps actually take field trips, so they're not just housed at the Magnet Lab for all the days of the camp. They're going to take trips out to Mariana Caverns, for instance, Wild Adventures, Sea to Sea. So they'll be around looking and taking in the science that's in the area.
How intensive are the music camps?
Well, they vary. They vary from just several days to 2-week camps. Students can come for a half a day to our elementary day camp. It's just a half a day camp, to students that want to spend the night in the dormitories and get that on-campus experience that they have. So it really varies, again, just to suit the unique interests of the students.
And do those tend to be older students that are more moving towards college that want to stay on campus?
Generally so, yes.
Yeah.
Again, it's part of that campus experience that they're frequently looking for, and we try to give them in our camps.
If with the music camps, do they just learn like pieces of music, or do they get into things like music theory?
Oh, they get into lots of things. Yes, they learn their parts, and yes, they perform in the large ensembles and so forth, but they also take elective classes, and our elective classes are some of the most interesting things that they don't get in their schools or at home. Some of those electives can be steel drum ensembles, for example, world music ensembles, composition, where they're going to compose a piece and perform it at the end of the camps, guitars of all kinds, jazz, you name it, conducting. They'll learn about conducting and get to conduct an ensemble, all kinds of things that helps expand their musical interest.
And just for the sake of contrast here, obviously that's very hands-on.
Yes.
Is it the same is true for the science camps?
Absolutely. All of our whenever we're doing any type of science or activity, we want it to be hands-on. So when we're talking about the geology, the kids are actually going to make field microscopes that they'll be able to take to the caverns and then identify the minerals that they see in the caves. So everything has to be hands-on for us.
But are you taking advantage of the mag lab, or is the mag lab basically a magnet for science students coming in there?
We're fully taking advantage of all the scientists we have there. In fact, we're going to bring in the experts. So if we're going to talk about minerals, they don't want to hear it from me. I'm just an education person. We're bringing in one of the best geochemists in the world to talk to them about the minerals that they're going to see in Florida. We're going to bring in the experts to tell them to really knock their socks off and say, this is what we're doing here. This is some of the great things that we can accomplish.
So there's a lot of interaction with the faculty for both of you, correct?
Very
and
much
the
so.
students.
Absolutely.
How much time I mean, is it one-on-one kind of situations with the faculty and the students, or is it sort of talking to a more of a broad?
Within our camp, they can take private lessons with our FSU faculty. They meet in master classes with our FSU faculty. They interact with them completely. Even with our larger camps, they get really direct one-on-one access to a large number of our FSU college music faculty.
I mean, that's just a fantastic opportunity for a young person. It's wonderful. And do the faculty really enjoy doing this?
Yes, very much so.
They come back year after year and do it again?
Some of them come back from as far away as Europe just to do their camps and be a part of it.
Yeah, our faculty members see the importance in what we do at the camps. We're trying to bring up the next generation of scientists and engineers. So besides the faculty coming in, the students also come in. So we've got students who are working with the FSU faculty, and they're going to come in and work with the kids. So it may be one of the situations where a faculty member is going to come in, do a presentation, talk to the kids, and then as they do the hands-on activity, the students will actually come in. The FSU students will come in and work with the children. In fact, they're not all that far removed from that middle school setting, so they can remember what it's like to be the awkward one, to be the quiet one, to have questions and not being able to ask them. So in that private setting, they can ask the questions, they can grow a little bit more, get out of their shells a little.
Do the FSU music students also get involved with the summer camps?
Very much so. They comprise most of our counseling staff in the dormitories and during the day. They do teach some of our smaller classes that are very young. They're very excited. It gives them great teaching experience, because that's what we want to be able to offer to our students, is a chance to get better at teaching, because most of them are going to go into music education, become music teachers. But again, the campers coming like the interaction. They want to know, when I come to FSU, what are the students like, as well as what are the faculty like?
So just out of curiosity, how many Florida State students are involved in the camps, or just if you have a rough number? We
hire a total of 180 people to work the summer music camps, and probably 40 to 50% of them are our students.
Fantastic.
And we're going to have small groups of students, not quite as many as you've got, but our students are coming in, volunteering their much important research time to come in and work with the students hands-on. So we'll be working with 4 or 5 students, FSU students at a time.
How many students overall come to the camps, like total at the end of the summer? How many will you see?
This year we'll see somewhere a little over 1,500 students from 20-some states. I think last year 27 states and 4 different foreign countries.
I'm doing math quickly in my head. I think we got between 80 and 90 students that we'll have housed at the lab throughout the summer.
In 1 week and 2 week periods.
Right. Yeah. So we'll do 1 week with 18 kids, and then turn around. A new 18 will come in and do it again. And again, Cy Girls is the exception, since they are a 2-week camp. They're actually running 2 camps consecutively at the same time. So they've got about 35 to 40 girls in the magnet lab at one time.
There's a lot of amazing programs here. Do the kids who come here as campers, do they start looking at FSU as a place to go to for college?
I sure hope so. FSU is really, really good in sciences and music and a lot of other fields. So when we get them here at the Magnet Lab, and we've got the opportunity that we can do things that no one else in the world can do at the Magnet Lab. So I can show them things that they can not see ever again. So they've got to come back to FSU to get that full experience.
They want the FSU experience, and we do our best to give it to them. And probably about 70% of the students that come to our camps enroll at Florida State University. Most of them are not music majors. They are all over the university in every field. Some of them may come back and take some music during the course of the year, but most of them are not music majors, but they love music, and that's what we want to promote.
So they love music, they come here for the expertise, but that may not be their major, but they fall in love with Florida State anyway.
Absolutely. It's a great place, as you know.
Yeah, it's a good model.
Is that the reason why FSU does summer camps?
I think for music, I see it as a service that extends beyond the university. It's a way to promote the university as a whole, in addition to the College of Music. It's also, again, a great thing for our students to get experience, our FSU students to get experience in working with kids. I think it's a wonderful outlet of outreach for us.
You find the same thing?
Very much so. I couldn't echo your words anymore.
And do you see a significant number of students in the science camps then end up as Florida State students?
Well, the great thing about, and some of these camps are still very young and they've only had 1 or 2 years. Sci Girls has been running for a while, and we're seeing that some of those Sci Girls are coming into our community, and they come back to the Magnet Lab as volunteers for things like open house. They help us whenever we have large events that go on around the university, and they're now starting to get into that age where they're going to university, and we hope a lot of them are going to stick around at FSU.
You know, one of the things with the National Science Foundation supporting something like the Mag Lab is they have an expectation that there'll be outreach and educational opportunities that are K through 12. But it sounds like you do it anyway.
Oh, we absolutely do. The Magnet Lab summer camps are just one aspect of our educational outreach. So throughout the entire year we're doing education outreach. We're going to schools and visits. Schools are coming to the Magnet Lab for field trips. So we're doing this year round. During the summer, it gives us an opportunity to work with a small group and really build up a relationship with them and get them more excited about science. And we get them excited about science all year round, but you compare a whole week to just a 1-hour shot, you get a whole lot more built up there.
Now, one of the things you had mentioned with the music camps were concerts. Now, these concerts aren't just for the students performing for other students. Are they for anybody in the community to come see?
Anybody who would like to come see them.
How do they find out about when the concerts are?
All they have to do is call in and check in on our website, on our summer music camp website, and the list is there.
And they can get that from the music.fsu.edu
there you go.
main website as well?
Very much so.
That's
24
great.
different concerts this summer.
Wow.
Do you have a sense at the end of this about how much benefit there is for the students? I mean, we've just been talking about benefits for Florida State and benefits for future students, but do you get a sense at the end of these that the students are the young students are transformed in any way?
I think so. We have students all year long talk about our summer music camps. There are several Facebook websites out there, and we see the impact that it has socially, musically, academically. So many of them tell us that their camp experience changes their lives. They're just so positive about things. They have a bond of people from when they go to school and when they go back. And it's not unusual when I go out into the schools. I might be down in Miami, walk in, and somebody will say, well, hey, you're with the summer music camps, aren't you? And they talk to me about things. And they take it back to their parents and to their teachers. It's a very impactful event.
The same thing with you?
Oh yes, absolutely. We got these kids coming in, and we're showing them some things that they may never have seen, never had to experience. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to give them a positive experience with science. I mean, all too often, I go into a school and I hear students talking about physics. And the word physics scares a lot of people. And they hear physics, they say, well, I can't do physics before they even try it. Well, we want to change that. So we go in and we're going to have them actually building bridges as part of a competition, but they won't be using wooden nails. We're going to use spaghetti and hot glue. And that way they got an hour, 2-hour maximum to build a bridge, and then we'll destroy it. And then the destroying part, that's when they really get into it. And this bridge shatters and you got spaghetti flying everywhere. And then we do it again, using what they learned to rebuild the bridge. And then that second time around, after they've destroyed the bridge the first time, they saw their faults, they saw their mistakes, and then that second time is so intense that all of them are really getting into this now. They're like, there's a few of them that may not be so into the whole process, but then when it gets destroyed and they see that destruction, they get excited about rebuilding and making it better.
And then you let them know that they just use physics.
That's right. Physics, engineering, all the STEM.
Let's talk about the application process for both the music and the science camps, because basically it's apply early because some of the spots go pretty fast.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. We start taking registration at the very beginning of January. A lot of our primary instruments and voices will fill up very, very fast, so you want to apply early. We still have spots open for this summer. My advice to anyone is to check the website. They can see exactly which instruments are still open, which voices are still open, and which camps. And all of our camps right now do have openings.
Now we are all filled up. We start our application process also in January, February. We close it in April, and we make selections, and we let everybody know if they made it or not, or if they're on a waiting list. It's a very selective process. It's very difficult to get in. We get hundreds of applications, and sometimes you only have about 30 spots, so it's very difficult to narrow that down and select just a few students from that.
So how are you selecting them? What type of criteria are you looking at?
Well, I mentioned that we're not looking for science background. We want to see the science interest. We want a student that's going to be willing to learn, willing to work, and has an open mind about science. So if somebody's done 5 or 6 science camps in the past, that's great for them. But that may not be what we're looking for. We definitely want somebody that is eager, is interested, and hopefully somebody that we can spark into the sciences.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, anyone can attend our camps. There is no audition for the camps, so we just want anyone that's interested to come.
Now, do they do auditions for some of the individual ensemble groups once they get to camp, or is that how that works?
Yes, they do audition to be in certain placements within the ensembles, but that's really a short 5-minute, come play whatever you want to play for us. Very informal.
Well, here's a question. We talked about music.fsu.edu as being a starting point for the music camps. Where can people go to learn more about the magnet?
They can go to education.magnet.fsu.edu, and all of our educational programs are online, summer camps, and during the school year for teachers that are interested in us coming out to visit. Okay,
and they can also go to the main MagLab website, magnet.fsu.edu, and sort of get to all that, plus everything you wanted to know about the MagLab.
Absolutely.
As well. Wonderful. Thank you both for joining us. We've been talking with Dr. Steve Kelly and Carlos Villa about music and science camps at FSU. When we come back, Dr. Barron and I will talk one-on-one about more issues in education. Welcome back to Issues in Education. I'm Suzanne Smith, talking with Dr. Eric Barron, the president of the Florida State University. Dr. Barron, we've been talking about summer outreach programs like music and science camps. Why is it so important for FSU to focus on kids who aren't even in college yet?
Yeah, you know, I think we're all about education, and we're a public institution. So, you know, right off the bat, just promoting interest in science and in the arts is valuable. But I think we also heard that these are students, even if they don't pick these as majors, that then are attracted to the university and to the breadth of university programs. And you're you're attracting a student that's very eager and very energized and has gone and sought these experiences. I thought it was fascinating that the criteria that the Mag Lab listed was an eagerness to participate as something that was one of the big factors in deciding who should come in this very competitive process. So to attract that kind of student to FSU, that's great.
So that's what FSU gets out of these programs?
Certainly, that's one
students?
thing we get out of it, but educational opportunities for our students who then may go on to be educators themselves, that in itself is valuable. So we've got a whole breadth of reasons.
Would you have liked to attend one of those camps when you were a kid?
I know I would have. I actually went on field trips with a class at the University of Chicago when I was a student in geology, only by accident because someone said, well, you're very interested in geology. How about if I get you on the field trips for this college course? It was fantastic. I can't imagine what I would have done with a whole week of it.
We might not have gotten you at FSU. We would have...
Who knows?
The governor recently vetoed the preeminence bill for universities. How is that impacting the university and the new budgets beginning July 1st?
Okay, so first of all, from my viewpoint is, you know, what are we after? We're after the state setting clear goals on how education should evolve. And with clear goals, like enhancing STEM education, which we were just talking about, with setting those clear goals, then what are the metrics that allow you to prove that the university is actually serving the state? And then reward those universities that are excelling by making sure that they have the resources to be nationally prominent. So we went through every level. We had a lot of support. The governor decided not to sign it. That certainly has an impact on our resources and our impact on being able to use that word preeminent, which I'm kind of fond of. But one of the things that you have to realize is this isn't a one-shot process. At an institution like this is a public institution, every single year you're going to go back to convince the public on what your value is. You're going to go back to the public to tell them what it is you want to do next. You're going to go back to that legislature and say, okay, here's what we want to do and here are the arguments why. So that same philosophy of setting goals, doing the metrics, rewarding those people that exceed, we don't want to give up on that. So we'll look at it from the viewpoint, should the Board of Governors be requesting resources? If we don't want to do it with tuition, should they be requesting resources? The governor has set up a task force to look at this particular issue. One of the members of the task force is the sponsor of the preeminent bill. And so it may be that the bill focused on major research universities that are nationally ranked in the top 50 at Publix. And we should be thinking about a whole series of metrics that any university might look at and say, oh, my retention rate's not very good. This is important to the state. I'm therefore going to focus on retention and I need these resources in order to do it. So we just don't say, oh, didn't make it. Instead we say, okay, next year we're going to do better.
Okay, so now we have to wait really sort of until next year for this next thing. What do you do in the meantime regarding budget? Well,
we will have our tuition increase that the Board of Trustees is looking at this week, and we will take those resources to balance our budget. And I'm hoping for just a small number of opportunities to start to reinvest in the university. We've got a lot of great ideas. We don't want to slow down. But in my view, if we achieve the tuition increase, about $600 per student per year, that is allowed by law, if that's agreed to by the Board of Trustees and the Board of Governors, we will, for the first time in 5 or 6 years, have a balanced budget at this institution.
It looks like the Civic Center is going to be part of FSU. What was the motivation behind making that happen?
Well, unfortunately, the Civic Center and it's not their fault. It's true for every city, medium-sized city around the country. Civic centers are struggling. And part of the struggle is not to be able to meet your expenses. And so the Civic Center was moved onto the distressed property list of the bank that cares for the Civic Center. And that threatens to close the doors. Now, we heard that in the middle of basketball season. And now you can imagine every university the size of a Florida State has their own arena to play in. You don't sit there and think about whether your arena will shut its doors in the middle of your basketball season, or heaven forbid that all of a sudden you don't have a place to do commencement, because we fill it 3 times in the spring. So it then became important for us to make sure that the doors stayed open. Florida State prepaid $550,000 to keep the doors open. That's not sustainable. If you're always on the brink, you're not going to renovate. You're not going to do anything else, much less keeping the doors open. So we've begun this slow process of having a lawsuit settled that Florida State's not a party to, but needed to be settled, having the city and the county agree that Florida State, which is the only entity that must have the Civic Center, that we have that control. If we have that control, we'll renovate it. By bonding it, we think we can use the weight of the university to create a much more efficient operation. And so I think we're going to be able to turn the corner and make it so that its budget is not threatened. The community has it for a long time to go, and that the seats are taken out and the place is painted, and it becomes the jewel that it belongs for the community, while making sure that FSU is not threatened by its loss.
Are there going to be anything people notice immediately after the whole official changing of hands?
No. There won't. As a matter of fact, we'll lease it back to the existing board for a year, so nothing will change, but we will immediately be looking at the opportunities to do some renovations, spruce it up. You know, just as an example, if you have a 20-year-old sound system, you're not competitive.
New one would be nice.
Yet you want to bring in all these groups here.
Right.
So let's make sure it's a good facility.
Thank you, President Barron. That's our time for now. Please join us again next month for more Issues in Education. You can watch the premiere episode of Issues in Education the first Wednesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. That means you can see the next new episode on Wednesday, July 4th on WFSU-TV. Join us as we discuss the latest developments in higher education happening around the state and across the country. If you have questions you would like us to address on this program, you can email us at issues@wfsu.org. Again, that's issues@wfsu.org. If you would like to see past episodes of Issues in Education, head to the President's website at president.fsu.edu. I'm Suzanne Smith with the Florida State University President, Dr. Eric Barron, for Issues in Education. We'll see you next time.
Financial support for the production of Issues in Education is provided by the Florida State University License Plate. Your FSU license plate supports scholarships for students who enrich and contribute to our communities. Special programs, gift certificates, and rebates for first-time buyers online at fsu.edu/mytag.